I get too obsessed too quickly when I start to like someone. You ever been talking to a girl? Maybe it was the first interaction, maybe it was the first date, second date, or even the first couple weeks, months of talking to somebody, and you start to obsess so quickly about this person. I want to explain to you guys in this video how to detach from that feeling, because that could be a very shackling, painful experience, very anxiety inducing experience, and also it's just not healthy. So I want to explain the process, the mindset shift you're going to need to go through, and some actual techniques you could do by the end of this video, because I've experienced this, and I know hundreds of other men that I've coached inside of my programs. We fall for women too quickly sometimes. And I know you've been there. You meet a girl you really like, and you start to envision this whole fantasy world. You have like a lifetime together with the girl already in your head, and you just obsess over the girl. And as you're continuing to date the girl, that will end up making you more needy, more insecure. And if you're consuming ridiculous amounts of red pill content, it's also going to make you think you're a beta simp pussy loser bitch, right? A baby beta bottle bitch. So I want to explain this process to you guys because it's not healthy, but also there's a deeper, more self-aware path you could go down, because you want to be able to meet a girl that you genuinely like, connect with her, attract with her, keep that woman in your life, and have a happy, healthy relationship that's not sabotaged because of red pill or your anxious neediness bullshit. All right? So the very first thing to understand is that if you just met the person, like let's just say you just met this girl or it's been a couple of dates, and you start to feel that feeling of obsession, you're catching yourself getting deep into that, the very first thing I want you guys to understand is it's not actually an obsession with that woman. You need to be real with yourself about this. It's not even about the woman. You just need to understand that that person is nothing more than a target or a vehicle as a means of triggering your inner anxiety. You have an anxious attachment style for whatever reason. The way that you grew up, it could have been something that happened in childhood. It could have been something with your parents, the way that you received love as a kid in the first 7 years of growing up. But for whatever reason, we have this anxious attachment style. Me personally, guys, I'm actually more of an avoidant attachment style. But a lot of dudes have some level of an anxious. You could still be an avoidant with anxious tendencies, but understand that like when you meet a person and you really like them early on, you become extremely anxious. You start wondering what's going to happen if they don't text you back, or if she starts acting cold or distant, starts pulling away, right? There's a lot of these dudes online that talk about when she pulls away, do this. I probably even have some bullshit SEO clickbait title like that from years ago on my channel that one of my editors probably put up, right? What to do when a girl pulls away. All these dudes with anxious attachment style. No. How do I make it so that she never pulls away, right? That's probably what you're thinking. If you're genuinely an anxious attachment style and you're talking to a girl that you like, you want to be in that position where she likes you more than you like her. That will make you feel a lot more secure, right? But when she's not responding, or she doesn't answer the text message, and then hours go by, or you're unsure about how she's feeling, it provokes these anxious, that's what it is. It's anxious feelings of attachment that you have, man. You got to be real with yourself about that. And I'm trying to explain this because that will create separation from this obsession you have with the woman. Right? You have this, we start to feel all of these feelings, which lead to other thoughts about, is she going to text me back? Was the message not good enough? And so you start to dive deep into those thoughts. And before you know it, it becomes so much about the girl that you start to think you're in love with the girl. You think that you're in love with this woman. You're not in love with this woman. You barely know her. She barely knows you. It's just the fact that she is the one that is triggering that feeling inside of you. She is nothing more than a vehicle or a target. And I'm not trying to devalue the woman either. That girl, she may actually be special. Clearly, she had something different than the other women you've encountered before. But understand, you don't really know the girl. And so to get that obsessed that quickly, and we start to conclude that it's her and she's the one, and I need her to like me more than I like her, and all this thing, it's like, no, that's not actually what's going on here, dude. Chill the fuck out. You got to bring yourself back down. And it starts with everything I'm talking about in this video, is coming to terms with the reality of the situation. It's not about the woman. It's about what's being triggered internally. Whether you're on the anxious side or if you're on the dismissive avoidance side too. those guys have a completely different level of trauma, right? And I could typically look at a dude and the way he acts, and based on his behaviors and mannerisms, you can start to see, does he have more anxious or avoidant tendencies? A lot of the times you could, not instantly, but you can start to tell these things as you get to know somebody, if you're educated enough on these concepts. And that's where I got really lost in the pickup and the cold approach stuff too. And a lot of dudes I see online have these same things going on. You'd be surprised. There's a good amount of dudes online. Some of your favorite gurus online, some of your favorite coaches online struggle from these concepts too, man. And we tell ourselves different stories to justify these behaviors. Me personally, I got lost in the pickup and the cold approach and the red pill concepts. And so I started to see things a certain way. But there's the other side, which is more of like the anxious, right? So you meet somebody, you start falling, you start falling for the girl. But what you don't realize is it's just internally. Okay, so the moment you can acknowledge, hey, it's not actually the girl that's that special or that genuine. I mean, it could have been a good date. It could have been a good 3 dates. It could have been a good month. But dude, I can tell you, I've been in multiple 3, 4, 5-year relationships. The way you feel about somebody after 6 months, after 1 month is not the same as 3 months. It's not the same as 6 months. It's not the same as 1 year. And then after 2 years, you're starting to really get to know the person. All right, just let that sink in. So here you are thinking you found your soulmate after 1 date, 3 dates, and oh no, what's gonna happen if she doesn't text me back? Does that mean if I like her more? Like all these like very anxious styles of thinking, right? So what do we do about this though, right? You might be watching this video and you're like, okay, that's true, right? The first thing we could do is start to create separation between the thoughts and the obsession of the person, and starting to create more of a separation between, okay, this is actually just something that's being triggered internally. Right? And that's important because there's going to be a lot of moments as you're dating somebody where you're going to start to feel those triggers, and you're going to need to be able to catch yourself in those moments. It's a skill set, right? You have a skill set right now of, you've taught yourself that when you feel that, you start thinking about the girl, and you've built up this obsession with the woman. You spent all this time doing that. The next time you catch yourself doing that, you need to start to build up a different skill set of bringing yourself back to center, catching yourself getting lost in that obsession, and telling yourself, okay, it's actually just my inner child that's being triggered because I have some level of anxious attachment internally, right? And this is why I tell guys, hey man, going to therapy is actually pretty powerful. You don't think you need it, but you do need it, because shit has happened to all of us in childhood. And a lot of us think, like, I always thought I was secure. I'm confident, I'm cool, I can go out, I can interact with women. I've talked about all my insecurities and my dad dying. No, you need to go to therapy for yourself, dude, so you can get more in touch with your inner child, to realize what has happened in your life and why you act the way you act. Because the unique gift that we all have as individuals is, I'm the only person that knows exactly everything I've gone through. You are the only person that knows exactly everything that you've gone through. And so you use therapy and communicating about these experiences as a vehicle of getting more in touch with your younger version of yourself, because that's where the attachment is coming from. It's this part of our childhood or trauma growing up that has some type of open wound that's getting exposed through this woman that you think is the one, but she's not the one. You just haven't experienced that before. And the other thing to understand is that even if that relationship ends, guys, you will keep going on until you find the next one that triggers that same anxiety inside of you. Whether it's anxious attachment, or if you're dismissive avoidant. Either way, you'll be going through this thing, seeking the next partner that triggers that thing for you. And I see a lot of people getting stuck in these loops. If you're a dude and you're not aware of this, you'll fall for a girl and you end up becoming so needy, so anxious, you will pretty much sabotage the relationship because you give in to those things. And maybe it turns you paranoid. Maybe you can't even take it. And a lot of anxious guys, they can't even take it anymore. So they'll eject from the situation as a means of relieving themselves of that feeling, right? They'll look for a way to sabotage, to eject out of the uncomfortable situation, to relieve themselves of that feeling. Because that girl, they think it's the girl for whatever reason, they'll find a justification as to why it's the girl's fault, and then they'll kind of leave the situation. This is like the majority of relationships. They either end because the partner is either anxious or avoidant. You think that, oh, they're not the one. Oh, all women are crazy. Oh, it's like, no, actually, majority of society isn't in touch with their childhood trauma. They have very low levels of awareness around the type of love they've received and the experiences they've gone through that have shaped them to be the way they are right now. Most of society does not understand that on a deep level. You add on top of that drugs, alcohol, porn, masturbation, validation, social media, dopamine externally, zero reflection. No one in no relationship can make it. I mean, go on social media, go on Netflix, look at all these fucking TV shows. You stack that on without having a deep understanding of internally what's going on, let alone your partner's experiences. And if you guys haven't put years into communicating through those things to heal them and build and get in sync with each other, how the fuck could you ever make it? You can't, dude. So to conclude, oh, she was crazy. Oh, all women are crazy. Oh, this and that. Oh, it's them. No, that's not what it is. It's just nobody's actually willing to go through. Like, do you guys understand that to actually build a relationship, you have to go through extremely uncomfortable situations with your partner. You're not going to find the one and it's just blissful. You're going to find the one that fits your attachment style, and then you'll pair bond for a little bit. And then when those feelings end and the honeymoon phase is over, then you're going to have to go through another phase of, oh, this is what it's really like. And then you're both going to trigger each other. And then you have to work through those triggers together and not eject or avoid or point the finger and put your ego to the side. And then you got to do that for years. Yeah, that's why all relationships fail. It's not because of any one thing. It's because we as human beings are not self-aware. We're so craving external bullshit, and we can't be real with ourselves. So we tell ourselves these fake bullshit stories, like the one I'm talking about in this video, where you think you're obsessed with the girl. It's not even about the fucking girl, man. It's everything in here. Okay, so my recommendation is you need to actually become more self-aware. You start doing some reflection. That starts with a daily reflection on your previous day, tracking your day, tracking your week, tracking your goals, but also internal reflection. If you've had failed relationships, don't turn to drugs and alcohol. You need to get clear-headed. Don't turn to porn and masturbation. You need to pull back on this shit to get clear-headed. You need clarity. You need clarity. Most of you guys probably need some level of therapy, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's a good thing. I do it every week. I have my therapist today at 12 o'clock. You need to explore your past, right? Some of you guys might know what it is. Like, I knew, it's very obvious, my dad died at a young age. My first girlfriend left me. I never went back to the grave. I avoided that painful situation. I avoided getting back into a relationship, and as a means, I went into cold approach and pick up and getting women that really attracted to me. I was avoidant of a lot of things. But some people are more anxious. And if you find yourself obsessing over the next person over and over again, or there's that one girl and you're really obsessing over her, even though you don't really know her and she's not really a perfect fit, understand that's all internal. So you need to be able to speak to your inner child. You need to be able to speak to your inner child. And honestly, you need to give them reassurance. That's what it is. You're looking for the girl to really like you back, and ideally you hope the girl likes you more than you like her. Because what would that do? That would give you reassurance. Stop looking for it externally, because there's always going to be a next target. Once you get it from that person, it's never fully healed that way. It will never be healed that way. It will only be healed from internally. Same reason I tell dudes, like, at some point, if you're just chasing endless sex and lust, it will never be healed. You're filling an endless, infinite void. It will never be healed that way. It'll just be on to the next one, and you'll date that one girl until you fuck her, until you feel the validation off of it, and then you'll get over it, and then eventually she'll trigger you, and then you think she's crazy, so you go dismissive, and then you go on to the next hot, shiny object, and then you gotta fuck that one, and eventually that one gets triggered in one way or another, so you find a way to pull back, and you just go on an infinite loop that way too. But it's a validating loop where you're getting a lot of women, and if you're getting praised for it online simultaneously, that's a fucking deadly loop too, bro. Both sides can be bad. So you gotta find a way to give your inner child reassurance, not from external dopamine, from putting in the work on a daily basis, by doing a daily reflection, by exploring your past, your childhood traumas, your inner child, whether he's hurt or not, and giving him reassurance. And then also, as you start dating, communicating this with your partner, right? Even in the relationship, this is something you're gonna need to build up with your partner as you go through the relationship. Very dense topics. I don't see a lot of dudes talking about online, guys. You might need to rewatch this one over and over again. Powerful shit in here. if you want to get better with these concepts, if you want to actually heal yourself, if you want to stop deriving your sense of validation from the external world, so you could put in the work on a daily basis without the drugs, without the alcohol. I mean, just clean, sober, fully focused, having clarity on what are the goals for today, for the week, what are the actions I need to do, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and getting direct guidance from somebody like me and my community. Guys, click the button below. You can check out my brand new program. All right? I got to get back to it. I got a full day of work ahead of me. It's Wednesday morning. I've been on top of my shit, man. Fully sober, locked the fuck in. 220 days in a row. Haven't missed a day at the gym. Fully sober. No masturbation, no porn, none of the bad shit. Just clear, level-headed focus, man. And that's what you guys need too, all right? Click the button down below. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.